2 years after you joined the DEA, in 1970, that's when the RICO laws were enacted.
Yes. Yes, they were.
And that was really to try to bust the Italian mafia, right?
It was. It was. And it was very effective.
Well, you fast forward to 2022, RICO has been used all over the place with lots of different groups and so forth.
Of course.
Right now in the hip hop world, one of the biggest cases is there's a crew of rappers and associates in Atlanta, named YSL. Some of the rappers are like Young Thug and Gunna and so forth. 28 of them are now locked up over a state RICO case, involving drugs, murders, gangs, and so forth. Yeah. In this case, hip-hop lyrics are in the indictment, social media posts are in the indictment. Now, this is a state RICO case rather than a federal RICO case. From your understanding, what's the difference between state and federal RICO?
Well, are you talking about Georgia?
Yes.
Did you say? It's fashioned after the federal. So there's very little difference. They legislated it to be like the federal. And it's a heavy law, and if they have them, it's a tough case to beat, a RICO case. It really is.
I mean, when you look at cases like this, in all the years that you've worked on them, RICO is so general that sometimes you get people caught up in these RICO cases that aren't really doing criminal activities themselves. They may know someone, they may be associated with someone, but they themselves are not the ones doing the crimes.
I absolutely agree with you, because I've known people that have been caught up in these RICO cases, and they were just like an associate, but nothing to do with the actual crime. They were arrested because of their close proximity to the person that was doing the crime. No, I do agree with you about that. It's the original intent was great. They made great cases, but then they started diluting things, reaching out here, doing a RICO case on this and that type of thing.
Well, in 2022, fentanyl seems to be the biggest problem in the U.S. Fentanyl is a drug that's been around for a while, but it seems like recently it's almost went to the top in terms of not only distribution, but also the death involved and the overdoses and everything else like that.
Well, I went through the mafia wars, the heroin scourge. I went through the cocaine cowboys, working on the Colombian cartels. But people have to realize that a narco war is going on right now. Statistics. So far this year, over 111,000 people have died from fentanyl overdoses. God knows how many weren't even reported, okay? Since this year alone, seizures of fentanyl have been over the equivalent of 37 million dosage units. 37 million. And now they're even making the fentanyl, in different colors to attract kids. You have a narco war going on. You have the Mexican cartels with the Chinese doing this to us. People have to wake up. We have to do something about our southern border. And people aren't educated as to the dangers of fentanyl. I'm on the advisory council of the Mob Museum in Las Vegas. And I made a recommendation that they set up a display on fentanyl with handouts for people to educate kids and people as to the dangers of fentanyl. The cartels are having the money they're making from fentanyl, they're having it laundered by the Chinese. The Chinese, our intelligence shows that the Chinese are charging them 1% to launder their money. Normally, if you're in the money laundering business, it's about 6%. So they're only charging them 1%, selling them all this fentanyl, coming over the southern border. I mean, we have to realize something has to be done. Just those statistics alone, over 110,000 documented deaths this year. I mean, something has to be done. I mean, that's my opinion, Frank Panessa's opinion, but it should be the opinion of many people, and something should be done.